Welcome back, guys. So this video is going to be about Evan. So what do we want to do with Evan? I normally, if you go for Evan, Evan is a faction where you build your troops together, you build your battleground, and then eventually you want to push and try to make it happen. So it's pretty good early game, mid game, and then you try to really finish your opponent off, and it's use resources and income, special abilities, and heal. So definitely different kind of faction there, really enjoyable as well. So let's get started. I pulled out the deck together that you get from the starter pack. So here it is. We start with the hero called Cassandra. Cassandra is quite special because she has 2 destiny compared to all the other heroes from Evan, which start normally at 1 destiny, or even some of they don't start with any. So definitely a nice hero. She's being played in the top tier right now because of that possibility. So and one thing you gotta understand is that she has light and she has air magic. So let's move towards the cards you want to go for and the expansion you want to go for. Let's start with the cards there. So this is what you start with already. I'm not such a fan of Celebration for the only purpose that the downside is super strong. Each player can draw a card, so sometimes they're going to need that extra special card, so they're going to try to get it, and if they get it, let's say in a control deck, it may be pretty bad for you. So I don't feel like this is pretty good in normal event decks. I feel that specific event, though, that they gave out in that starter pack is awesome. It is awesome, why? Because it's a one-sided event. And when you play that game, the events are going to be randomized. Sometimes it's going to be, let's say, there's going to be Week of Mercenaries, an example. Like, most of the decks run that, right? But if you're not that aggressive, why would you run that? If your opponent can play Week of Mercenaries against you, it's pretty bad. So what's nice about this is that almost only Evan use that. A little bit of Academy can use Week of Trainings because it's also they also have that 1 or 0 damage creatures, so definitely is worthwhile there. And for only 2 costs, which is super cheap, trust me, you can get a base 1 damage, which can be utilized with few creatures. So definitely a good event there. Normally you want to go for at least 3 or 4 of these. Definitely awesome. Not too a fan of this one as well, because discard a card and draw a card. It can actually get the card, the control deck your opponent use. It requires to win, so not too fan of these special events there. What I would recommend and what normally people go for is that they specialize in 2 things. So either the special in creatures, or the special in creatures and spell, or creatures and destiny. And why did they go for that? It's because there's 2 kinds of really interesting events there. There's that event called Mana Storm. Let me take a look. Here we go. So whenever somebody plays spell, they pay an extra 1. If they can't, they're gonna take 1 damage to their hero. So if you don't play any kind of spells and you only go for that special fortune there, it's definitely going to be worthwhile, because that event is only going to be one-sided to your opponent there. So this is why people tend to focus either on fortune and creature, or creature and spells, because of these special event, just like Week of Texas, which is the opposite, but just for fortune there. So quite interesting to go for these, depending on how you focus your deck. Let's move on to creature here. They actually gave you one of the best creature, 1-drop creature in my opinion. It is called the Tide Collector. I think one of the few cards you actually have to go for as soon as possible is the Tide Collector. It is such a great card. The income 1 ability actually gave you an extra boost there, and with that income 1, you're going to be able to put more creatures in turn 2, turn 3, and snowball your opponent, because this game is all about snowballing and all about getting those creatures out of the field and pushing through. So definitely a superbly good card they gave you at the beginning. I would try to get at least 3 of them or 4 of them. Most of the big decks out there of Evan actually run 4. So super good card there. Moving on, this card is alright. It's not that great. Heals might seem interesting, right? You can heal 2 per turn. So you're thinking, okay, maybe that's gonna be more. Well, problem is there's so much removal in this game compared to other games. There's this removals like Insect Swarm, there's removals like Soul Weaver, Shadow Images. There's so much removal that are cheap that heal isn't that effective as a keyword, so I wouldn't recommend playing those Devoted Sisters. However, for the 2 drops I gave you, that Griffin is just value. You get 2, 1, 4 for 2 cost. Normally, most of the event decks out there utilize 4 of these. Definitely a great card. Try to get a bit more, and it's common too, so it shouldn't be too much wildcard cost-wise. Moving on, you have the Oldie Preturns. Definitely a staple card. Normally, the decks run 2 or 3. If you run more than that, what's going to happen is that your battleground, you have only 4 position for melee. You gotta remember that as well. Battleground's going to be clogged up. So you're not going to be able to put those wolf captains or bigger creatures, and this is why you only want to go for 2 or 3 to get at least once per game to get that Milligard, because Milligard 2 is quite effective, way better than Milligard 1. Try it out, it's going to be awesome. Moving on, these are pretty good. This is a 2 damage all the time creature. It is decent by itself. However, in Forgotten Wars, there is that creature called Crusader Watchman. That Crusader Watchman is quite awesome for the only reason that it's a 2/2/5, and it can even be boosted with the event we had there, right? Week of Training. Here we go. So since the base attack of that creature is at 0, but it gets boosted by itself when it doesn't have damage, it can be a 3 damage creature for only 2 in one turn. So if you get 4 of these Watchmen or 3 of these Watchmen, and you utilize that possibility, it is a superb card, definitely worthwhile. And what's nice and what's best, I mean, about that card is that it has 5 HP. Therefore, what's nice about 5 HP is that it survives to fireballs, it survives to most of the AoE removal out there. And that 5 HP threshold is really awesome. Unlike that Expert Marksman would only have 3 HP, which is a bit weak in this current meta there. So I would recommend getting those Crusader Watchmen, and you can heal them up with other possibilities. I'm going to talk to you about that later on. Moving on to the 3 costs, Radiant Glories, amazing card. You get 3/5. I mean, 3 damage for 3 costs, that's pretty nice, right? And you have Flyer. So what's nice about Flyer is that you can put them everywhere on the battleground, so that means that you can utilize a battleground to your best advantage there, and having those Radiant Glory gonna help that out. And also they have 2 retaliation. There seems to be a lot, it counters a lot of creatures, trust me. So I try to get 4 of these. It's a common, but it is such a great card. Awesome. Also, Sunriders being used from time to time depending on which kind of deck you go for. Charge and immune to retaliation is quite both effective keywords there. I don't personally use them that much, but it's quite good. Give it a try, guys. It's going to be quite fun. If you can manage to boost that damage, the charge can be quite powerful there. Moving on, Wolf Marksman, quite a good stats there. Definitely great. You have 2 retaliation for a 3 cost there, which is okay. 4 HP, which is a bit weaker than that 5 HP threshold I've been talking about, but still a decent card by itself, so try it out. It's okay. It's not the best cards you can use, though. Let's move on to the 4 costs. So we have Griffin Marksman. I know there's a few of these decks that runs these. It's okay. It is still a 3 damage shooter, right? 4/4 and 3 retaliation, 6 HP, so you go above the 5. Definitely good threshold there. Good stats overall, but there's better. That's definitely better. It's a good card for now, but eventually you want to go for something else there. 3 retaliation can be used, but it's not that great for the cost there. What's nice about Cassandra is that she starts with 2 destiny. So what you gotta remember is that this isn't gonna cost you more to level up. And what you really want to do when you do a deck there is that the more you actually go for might, or the more you go for higher magic or higher fortune, the less cards you're going to draw. And the less cards you draw, the less your tempo is great. Therefore, what's nice about Cassandra is that she has that free 2 destiny. So you don't even need to level up. And you get Angel of Mercy, and trust me, Angel of Mercy is super good. You get 2 attack, 2 retaliation, 6 HP, and you get another card from your graveyard for free. It's like, it's just value. If you play Cassandra, use them, you'll see it's amazing. This doesn't seem to be that great at first glance, however, it has Mending and 2 retaliation. So if in a row, let's say an example in a row, your opponent's going to try to do damage and has only a 5 damage potential each turn, this guy can block it without any problem. If you don't attack, that is, right? Because if this creature doesn't attack during your turn, it heals up completely. So this card can be quite good if you want to go for more stall kind of deck building. And another fun of that card they gave you, it is definitely a great card by itself, but 6 might. So you gotta level up twice to get there. And there's no curve, right? You just gotta level up to get it. And I feel like it's stronger just to draw 2 more cards and like put 2 creatures instead of putting that guy. But, you know, it's definitely a fun card to have, but not the best, trust me. Normally, when you build a deck, you want to go for 30 to 35 creatures, and then have those 4 or maybe 5 might requirements, or maybe sometimes it goes higher, but it's quite rare, trust me, guys. Moving on to the spells. So what's nice about Cassandra is that she runs light and air. So let's focus on those spells right now that we can go for. Actually, wait, I mean, I only talked about the creature we gave, but let's talk about a creature we have to aim for. So For Evan, definitely tide collectors. When I get 4 of them, it's amazing. You can replace them by these or these for now, because you need the 1 drop to get the snowball going. It's okay, not that great. Don't want to use the Dark Assassins, because Dark Assassins is a rush kind of card, and 2 HP is super low, so don't go for that. Eventually, you want to go for one Phoenix, but that is in Forgotten Wars. So if you get lucky, try to get 1 in your deck. It definitely is a good value card there. Moving on, as I said, Griffins, go for that. Only Persian, amazing card. You need 2 or maybe 3 in your deck. It's gonna help you do. Sometimes the Elk Squire can be played. Range Guard 2 can be quite powerful. It's quite hard to deal with because it's a 2 cost with 2 retaliation. People won't see that, but it's a decent card by itself. And if you use Week of Straining, since it has only 1 damage, just like the Praetorian, you can like boost it up and increase that damage. One card you have to go for absolutely as fast as possible. Well, not as fast as possible, because I'm gonna tell you guys to start and go for Forgotten Wars. I feel like Forgotten Wars is definitely the best for Evan. They have so many of these great cards, and you have Annual, which is the best unique out there for Evan, and other awesome cards. But later on, you want to unlock Wolf Captain. Why? Because that card is at least 2 cards for 1. It only costs 2, requires 3, but who cares about the requirement 3, right? It gets +1/+1 for each adjacent creature, so normally you're gonna have at least that Wolf Captain for 3 damage, 2 retaliation, let's say. And what's even better, it has 1 damage base damage. So yeah, Week of Training, boost Wolf Captain, do even more damage. Super hard to deal with. If your opponent, you want to get rid of these guys as fast as possible, they're a nightmare. They only cost 2, and it's so amazing. So try to get these, but later on that is, okay? Try to go for Forgotten Wars as soon as possible. You're going to get good commons, good uncommons, awesome unique. So yeah. Moving on. Forgotten Wars card. So this card is just a common, but as I said, 5 HP, 2/2 can be boosted with Week of Training. Definitely good. Moving on to that, you want to go for that Radiant Glory for the 3 drops. So many good stats there, and you get at rare too. You have a good possibility of getting Crusader Chaplain, which is a superb good rare. Doesn't seem to be that good, but the stats are super neat. 2/2, 5, so you get over that threshold here for 3 costs. And cards in graveyard cannot be targeted. What does that mean? It means most Academy decks, most Necropolis decks, if that's mostly Necropolis for sure. If that guy is alive, Necropolis is gonna have a nightmare. It's the nightmare for Necropolis, that card is. So awesome. You want to get maybe 2 or 3 to just like get some variation in your deck if you have a chance. Definitely a great card. I use them most in my Evan decks there. And while Crusader has no damage, it cannot be targeted. Cannot be targeted is such a strong keyword. It's amazing against those dark spell school. So definitely go for that if you have a chance. Awesome. Moving on. Let's see. For the 4 costs, Angel Mercy, as I said, try to get 4. It's gonna be amazing. You get a two Destiny for free, so you can get them without any problem, without leveling it up. So that's amazing. Superbly good card. And in Forgotten Wars, you get a Crusader Treasure. It was nerfed a little bit, costing a bit more might and resources cost. But the income too and the stats is amazing on this guy. Super nice blocker. You got 6 HP, you got 2/6, and income too. So yeah, I keep talking about Tide Collectors and Crusader Treasure. Try them out. They're amazing. That is gonna help you get your battleground started. Imagine, okay, let's say turn 4, you get Tide Collectors. You have 1 Tide Collectors plus you have this guy. Next turn gonna have 7 resources. That's like even more next turn, because you have 8, because you're gonna get back to 5 resources. Anyhow, try them out. Income 2 is such a powerful keyword. Doesn't seem to be that big. When you can put everything on the battleground that quick, it's amazing. It's super good. And the downside, there's none. You gotta go to Farmite. That's the only downside, trust me. The 2/6 stats are quite good there. Definitely a good blocker as well. And in Forgotten Wars, you can have the chance to get Anil. Great card. Yeah, you can see there's a lot of stuff going on, right? So for the cost, 3 damage seems fair. 3 retaliation. Okay, yeah, I can dig that. Charge. Okay, as I said, it was a good keyword. It means retaliation. That is a fire, so that can be done anywhere. Yeah, I like that. And when she enters, or when she attacks, it heals up and remove all counters. Superbly good card there. So by going for Forgotten Wars, you get the Treasurer, you get the NL, you get the Crusader, you get Crusader Rushman, you get the Chaplain. You get so many value out of this, and you even get those cards that aren't played too much but are super good. This is good in the early game. It's quite weak to dark spells, I know, but 4, 5, 8 stats, 5 retaliation. 4 that cost there. Definitely something you want to look forward to when you start. and you can get that card too, Scattershock Marksman. Also, from the alert packs, you have Elionair, but the problem is that heal all damage. As I said, heal is not a powerful keyword because there's so many ways of removing cards in the game that, yeah, that unique is not as great as NL. So yeah, that's about for creatures. And yeah, if you go for more of these might, of course, you get the bigger, badass looking creatures. But as I said, the more you go up, the less cards you draw, the less your snowball is good. And the less your snowball is good, you're not gonna win, right? What matters in this game, it is a snowballing game. Moving on to the spells, you have air, you have light as well. So the two things you want to go for with light is Sunburst, such a value removal there. For only 2 costs and 2 magic, you deal 3 damage to all creature of a target group. That is awesome against Sanctuary, that is awesome against a lot of these factions out there. 3 damage is awesome, and normally they're not gonna see it coming. Normally you're gonna do the zigzag and stuff, they're gonna try to evade it, but it's just 3 damage for 2 costs. It is so great, trust me. And even in a scenario where you have 2 blockers in front of you, and you have a 5 HP creature, let's say the Radiant Glory, you do that, you can take 2 damage, but you can still, you know, like, get through. So definitely a good card there. Sunburst, I really like it. Also, they give you Bless here, which is decent by itself. It is a surprise card. It's not that great. So any kind of ongoing, as I said, it's fine, but it enchant creatures for the 3 cost. 3 cost is a lot, right? And 2 damage is permanent. That's pretty nice there. Good stuff, for sure. But as I said, removal is super cheap in this game. Therefore, these cards are okay, but in the eye hand, they're not that great. Heal, as I said, that's the best keyword. You don't absolutely need a 1 cost for the spells there. This is super good. Why? Because you don't have any big ongoings right now. So when you start in the game, you have Cleansing Light, and trust me, all the big decks out there run at least 1 or 2 super good ongoing spells. So this, just value there. So definitely try to get, normally you want to get 2 of these dispels per decks. Moving on, you get Lightning Bolt, 6 damage is a lot, and you can get rid of most of these unique creatures, so definitely a great card here. Cyclone is alright, Enchanted Lion can't attack, it's a slow kind of card for the cost. Not being played too much in the high hand, but can be useful sometimes. Word of Light is a snowballing card, and I feel like there's better snowball cards. I'm gonna get straight to it from the spells. Let's get started already. And Lightning Strike, 3 cost 2 for 4 damage. So you only need 2 magic requirements. So some decks, they just go for Fortune, but they still get Lightning Strike. Why? It's so many value. 4 damage for only 3 costs. Yeah, tell me about it. It's awesome. Also, not being played too much, Wind Gust is definitely a nice spell. Relocate target enemy creature, then deal 1 damage to it and to every adjacent creature. If you have a chance to get 1 or 2, it can surprise your opponent and get you the game there. So going for the 4 cost, 4 might snowballing cards, you got Second to Lost if you get a chance. These are in Era of the Void, if I remember correctly, and you get a unique, all unique are super badass spells. All the spells, except Primal, I would say they're quite original anyway, but all the unique spells are super good. Relocate target enemy creatures, you can do that for his whole army. So you can do maximum damage in all rows in 1 turn. It is superb. If you go for 4 magic, better get that card. If you go for 4 magic, better get the Light of Cinema as well, because each turn you get 1 more creature, so you get a card advantage starting turn 2. It's awesome. And it's only creatures. It's awesome. It's perfect. So yeah, what I would recommend you guys is going for 4 might, maybe 5 might, and 4 magic at the beginning. Also, Divine Intervention doesn't to get that great. You heal, as I said, okay, heal is not that great, but you heal all damage. Okay, so it's a bit better. It's not heal 2 or 3, it's all damage. It's alright. The key thing is destroy all ongoing spells and controlled by opponents. That is awesome. You want that. If you have a chance to get that card, please put it into your deck. You'll see it's going to be more amazing than you can think. Also, if you go for that 4 magic there, you have the access to Unbound Winds. You can get rid of those big creatures pretty easily without leveling it up. As I said, try to get to maximum and then use it to the fullest potential there. And then from the fortunes, you can start with 2 fortunes, but as I said, the fortunes here is not that great for Evan. Where you want to go for normally is pillage, but then you have to level up for their so then you get less snowballs. So it's okay, but why would you go for pillage instead of even if it's neutral? It is a neutral indeed, but you get so many income due to the tile collectors, treasurers. That pillage is worthwhile because it costs a lot, right, to make that effect. But with those income increase, it is possible. I would say that you could keep that. It's still okay. You can get 4 resources to draw a card. I've seen that played in the high hand, but the rest of the fortunes are okay. Gold Pipe can be fine as well, just like Campfire. But we only want to focus on one deck, and I would really recommend you guys to start for 4 Might and 4 Magic, and try to get that together, and then maybe get some week of taxes and slow down all these taxes and Fortune Destiny decks out there. So that's it, guys, for Evan. Feel free to give me any comments. I'll be sure to answer them. And yeah, cheers, guys. Have fun.